This is Overtime, a weekly moment of off-the-cuff commentary on everything from sports and politics to observations about everyday life from NFL All-Pro Carl Lee. Welcome to Overtime.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee with Let's Talk, and I'm going to do an overtime today. I don't know when the last time we got one out, but I want to get one out, and I want to talk about teamwork. What teamwork is, what playing sports is about, from my perspective. One of the concerns that I have and what I see here in the Valley when we talk about, kids transferring, I'm not going to make a case today. I've made enough of them about transfers and my feelings about it. And I actually can say openly and honestly that I think there were probably a couple of kids who transferred that were actually benefited them to some degree. But for the most part, what high school, middle school, youth football sports is about, it's not really about your child and how great your child is, and because your child is great and maybe the team is not good, that you should leave. Because what you're teaching them something that is opposite of what teamwork is supposed to be about. I can remember in youth football as a kid, never in my mind, first, I don't remember but a few games. One that I scored a touchdown on a guard reverse. I won't go into explain how that worked, but it was my only touchdown in youth football, and I like I said, I played guard. And I was about my team, like I didn't know anything. Like I didn't know anything else. I get to Spring Hill Junior High, which is now Bridgeview. I don't know. I don't even remember. I don't remember the record. I don't remember a specific game. But what I remember are the guys that was on my team. I can remember the bond that we had in that class. I remember that group going to South Charleston High School. We lost to Nitro. Didn't make the playoffs. We lost to them on our last game that knocked us out of the playoffs. That year we beat the number one team in the state in the opening game and lost to I think they may have been the last place team, I think, in the conference, and knocked us out of the playoffs. That group of players that I played with, I still have conversation, and a couple of them are like super great friends of mine. And see, sometimes when you look at the score, you look at the wins and losses, you don't look at the bonds that your kids are building. And even if they come to you and say they would like to leave, they want to go to a team that's winning, they may win a championship, and by the time they get the parents' age, my age for sure, they're not even going to remember the championship. It's not going to be something that you're going to be able to run around and brag about because nobody cares about it. It's just a moment. And it's a shame, but the reality is true. I see youth sports and how it should be. Go look at the Boy Scouts. When you put your kid in the Boy Scouts, you are turning those kids, your child, over to those men and women that are running it. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to be on time. They're going to do every single thing that they are told to do, not asked to do, told to do. That is the model in which sports is supposed to be, what it used to be. And for all these people who keep saying, I should have a right to do what I want with my kid. You know what? You are exactly right. But when you join something, you join the Army, you join the band, you join something that's already established, you put that kid in there for the betterment of him, but you don't get to make the rules. You don't get to say what time that practice is. You don't get to say, well, he's running my kid too much. You leave it. You drop them into a school that has a program. You go to South Trust, you go to Cap, you go to Riverside. If you're in those schools, if you belonged in those schools, and you left because you wanted the best for your kid, what did he get? What's he getting? Is he guaranteed a scholarship already? We just had a show and we were talking about offers and talking about how those don't always hold up. What's he getting from it? Oh, you're happy because they're winning. And maybe he's playing. That's great. But let me ask this question. For the kids who are getting beat down on Friday night from South Charleston, from Cap, from Riverside, and all those other teams who have lost players, what do you say to the kid who's out there playing hard in that game, knowing that the score is already out of control, but yet they're still playing? What do you say to them? Who are they? Are they better? Are they better for what they're going through now than what a kid who left, who is playing? He's not a star, not going to get a scholarship. He's just there and is going to play high school ball. But he's playing on the team and he's getting some run and he's happy. He's excited because they won. What's he learning? Because at some point in time in his or her life, they're going to face this challenge. I've been to one of the South Charleston's games and it was pleasantly surprised that some of the kids came up crying because they had lost. Gave me a hug and said, "Hey, coach." Specifically one, I told him, I said, "Look, here's what you do. Every day in practice, I want you to work as hard as you can work. And I want you to stop crying, and I want you to go get a buddy and tell him, come on, man, let's work hard. You get him, both of you go get another guy. And you build this structure of guys wanting to play. And what you'll find is you'll build a culture. You'll build a team. It's easy to leave. It's easy to win when you go to a championship team. You go to a team that's already in the playoffs. That's easy. If you want what's best for your child, make him work. Make him be challenged at something. Because life's not easy. So he's not going to get lucky enough to be thrown in on an all-star team, because at some point, life is going to get hard. And again, you're going to say, I want the best for my kid. But you ain't going to be able to help him. He's got to help himself. He's got to know, he's got to have gone through something already. That's what sports is. It's not about the championships. Championships, are they good? Yeah. I can say this because my career does not exist with a championship. Somebody could say, yeah, that's because you might want to look inside. I look inside every day. And you know what I see? I'm satisfied. I'm good. Look at you. Ask yourself. I'm not on Facebook. So when you say something about me on Facebook, usually somebody will send something to me and tell me about it. But I'm not really interested. I'm not really interested in it because, again, my days are filled with watching youth kids grow. Not coaching, but I'm watching them grow to get better. We got a C team, South Charleston C team. Shout out to Kinder, Coach Kinder, who's the head coach. He's that dad who did not want his kid to play. Didn't want his kid to play. He didn't want to focus on his kid. He didn't want to give his kid the ball a lot because, he didn't want parents to say anything. I said, look, your kid can run the ball. Let him run it. First game, he didn't let him do it. Next game, he said, okay, coach, I'm gonna listen to you and some of the other coaches saying, hey, you got to run your kid. You got to run him. His name's David. He started running him, picking up yards, games getting closer. That whole team, that whole young team, Mooter and all these kids that are on this team are out there every Sunday fighting to win. Losing by 1, losing by 2. But they play every Sunday. That's lessons, man. That is what sports is. That's where you start. We start there. Ladies and gentlemen, I just need you to understand that sports is not an avenue necessarily for college. You may end up have to take loans out. You may end up have to do that. Sports, I get it. Sports is an opportunity. I was fortunate enough to not to have pay for any school. And there's a host of players who might be able to do that. But there's going to be way more numbers that are going to be forced to pay. And if you're playing sports in high school and this is it, this is your last year, I'm hoping that you have learned the lessons that sports is supposed to provide for you. Because if you do, you will be successful. If you're a coach, coach these kids with the idea of force them to have adversity, force them through it. Parents, trust the process. The process works. It always has, and it always will. And if you've got a great son, Wayne Harris could play anywhere in the state. I'd say this to you. Are you that good? Because if you're that good, everybody knows you. Everybody already knows who you are. If you're not him, you're me. You're like I was. You know what? You better work. And you know what? And you don't get what is best for you. You go get what you want. And you go get it because you're going to work at it. I'm so sick and tired of the idea of wanting the best for your kid. I'm like, it makes no sense. Then keep your kid home and give him the best that you can give him. But you cannot sign him up. Put him into a program that is already structured and say, I want the best for my kid. You put him in there for the best. However it plays out is the people who are in charge of it. That's what they do. Please, understand that sports is no different than it's just a vehicle in which we learn lessons from. And there's 2 to 3% who may play college. So another 2% or so that might go on to play on Sunday. That's not just West Virginia. That's everywhere. That's total. And you hear me talk about the metrics: height, weight, wingspan, hand size, foot size, weight, all of that stuff. They may not have them. And that's not their fault. But that does not mean they could not end up being good people, great people. So come on. Let's stop putting that pressure on the kids and let them play. And let them play and let them face the adversity every Friday night and be fine. Quit chasing trophies because you're not even going to remember them. They're going to break. You'll forget them. You'll leave them at home when you go off to school. You won't even pick them up again. They'll just get dust on them. That's all they are. That's all that will be. I got a whole host of stuff. And it's just sitting home and I don't even think about it. I am an advocate for teamwork, for sports to build teamwork, and to teach individuals how to be part of something. When you say, what's best for my son? I want what's best for my son. Put him on a team. Make him deal with the consequences that come with it. And that's the best he can get. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee, and this is with my timeout, and I am out.
The opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of WVRC Media, its management, employees, or sponsors. Contact Carl Lee on email, letstalkcarllee@gmail.com, or text 409-422-7539.